everyone. It's Siren from the Dead Air podcast. Here to give you a little disclaimer before our episode here. Today's episode will discuss cases of hate crime, and things we will talk about include beatings, pedophilia, suicide, grooming, and if these topics are not comfortable to listen to for you, then feel free to go on to something else and check back later, and maybe we will discuss something that is a bit more your tempo. Thank you for listening, and please enjoy this episode.
Welcome to Dead Air. I'm Danny.
I'm Siren.
This is where the signal fades and the stories get darker. From the paranormal to true crime, from the depths of Reddit to the corners of the dark web, we explore the things that linger just out of sight and sometimes a little too close. So, how are you?
I'm doing good. Doing
Yeah.
alright. Yeah, doing. I
That's
uh
good.
I
I haven't really seen you this week, so I was kind of wondering like how things were for you. Yeah.
yeah, I found out some pretty disturbing stuff today.
Oh,
Yeah, but
what? Wait, what's going on?
no, the thing I told to talk to you about earlier, the whole, uh, you know, the
What's
country
going
making
on?
it that much more difficult for people of color specifically to vote and for
Yeah.
our votes to matter anymore.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yep. Like I said, like I saw it headed in that direction, but it's still shocking. Like it actively happening is what is so shocking to me.
Hmm.
Though we're not surprised. I mean, historically speaking, America has never really wanted people of color or anybody from any type of demographic to have rights outside of, you being a cis white man. So, like, not a surprise there at all. But it's so fucked up. It's so sad. Um, and that actually kind of leads me into a little bit of the true crime.
Well,
Because this is a hate crime. This is a hate crime that took place down south, in Mississippi specifically, in Jackson, Mississippi. Yeah, that's actually where I lived for about a year. Actually, some of my family is from Mississippi, so um, it does kind of hit close to home for me. I don't personally know the victim, um, but he's somebody that I definitely could have known had I stayed down there, for sure. This was a young gay black man, so we could have been easily in the same circles. So
hmm.
um, let's get started. So, who is Jimmy J. Lee? Jimmy J. Lee was a 20-year-old from Jackson, Mississippi, whose life was marked by confidence, creativity, and visibility. He attended the University of Mississippi, known as Ole Miss, where he gained his bachelor's degree in social work and business and had plans to continue on for his master's. To the people who knew him best, Day was outgoing, charismatic, and unapologetically himself. He was also an openly gay black man in Mississippi, a reality that made his presence all the more powerful. Jay didn't just live openly, he performed openly, using his voice, his style, makeup, and fashion to express exactly who he was. He was known to take the stage at local queer events like Code Pink, where he commanded attention and clearly thrived in the spotlight. Beyond performance, he was creative in other ways too, recording music and drawing inspiration from artists like Ariana Grande, Beyonce, and Rihanna.
Super gay.
Yeah, it is.
Super
It
gay.
is. But I mean,
Love it.
like, we may not listen to those. Well, I do listen to a little bit of Beyonce.
I haven't listened
Um,
to Ariana Grande in like years
really, I
since
know her
Break
songs,
Free,
right?
I think.
Oh God,
Yeah.
that's a long time
Yeah, it's a
ago.
long time ago.
I definitely liked. I don't know that album, but the album that had the song "Thank You Next."
Mm,
Um, her tribute to Mac Miller in that album. I forget the song. heartbreaking, very heartbreaking, and just about the pains that she went through.
Hmm.
So I may not listen to her songs, but I am very aware of a lot of the things that she went through. But I am a fan of Beyonce in her later stuff, in her Renaissance album. But I'm not going to get into it. I'm gay. Okay, very, very gay.
Apparently, I'm
And
not
my
gay
gay
enough.
spirit, there's such thing, to be honest. He was known to take the stage at local queer events like Code Pink, where he commanded attention and clearly thrived in the spotlight. Beyond performance, he was creative in other ways too, recording music and drawing inspiration from artists like Ariana Grande, Beyonce, and Rihanna. But in a state where being Black and LGBTQ plus could come with added risk and judgment, Jay's boldness stood out. He was someone many admired and someone others may have struggled to understand. But behind that bright public image, Jay was also involved in a secret relationship, a detail that would later become part of the tragic story surrounding his disappearance. So let's get into the fateful day, July 8th. The night of July 8th, 2022, began with a mother's instinct. Around 8:30 p.m., Stephanie Lee called University of Mississippi Police for a wellness check after noticing her son's location wasn't showing on her iPhone and realizing it was unusual for Jay to let his phone die. Roughly 15 minutes later, an officer checked Jay's apartment at Campus Walk, a university owned student housing complex. The door was slightly open, and Jay's dog was inside, one of the first sights that something was deeply wrong. As investigators began pulling surveillance footage from the campus walk, they found movement that would later become central to the case. Baker testified that the video showed Jay leaving his apartment a little after 4 a.m., returning about 40 minutes later, then leaving again at 5:58 a.m. So he was meeting a suitor.
Mm.
Hmm. By July 10th, police were asking the public for help, posting Jay's photos and the description of his black Ford Fusion with the gold stripe and personalized plate labeled J. Lee 1. That same day, Bandit Towing contacted police and said it had towed Jay's car from Molly Bar Trails at 1:52 p.m. on July 8th, along with a photo placing a vehicle near a wooded area that stretched towards the airport. Then came a lead from someone close to Jay. A friend told investigators they had been texting over Snapchat early on July 8th and said Jay was on his way to meet someone he had previously hooked up with. The friend said the person had reached out from a username Jay didn't recognize after a fight hours earlier and had made a sexual offer that was meant to lure him in. On July 11th, police began piecing together how Jay's car ended up at Molly Bar Trails. Surveillance from the apartment office showed the vehicle arriving there at 7:25 a.m., followed 9 minutes later by a black male running from the complex in dark shorts, a gray hoodie, and black and white sneakers. Around 7:38 a.m., a gas station camera captured the same man jogging into the parking lot and meeting a white Kia Optima with an old Miss tag. By July 13th, police searched Molly Bar Trails with canine units, while Jay's father appeared in a public plea for help. 2 days later, the family organized a search at Clear Creek Lake. That's a tongue twister.
Mm.
Clear Creek Lake, a conservation area north of Oxford. On July 20th, investigators announced that FBI and Mississippi Attorney General's office had joined the case. The next day, Jay's Snapchat data helped sharpen the focus. Police used the messages, blocked contacts, and location data to identify Sheldon Timothy Harrington Jr. as a person of interest, with Snapchat placing Jay near Harrington's apartment for the last time at 6:12 a.m. on July 8th. The messages painted a clearer picture of what happened that morning. Starting at 5:17 a.m., Jay had been messaging an account called Red Eye underscore 24, later tied to Harrington through a Google Voice number connected to Harrington's podcast email, Dirt to Diamonds. That's that kind of just made me think about that era back in like the early 2020s when everybody wanted to have a podcast.
Yeah,
Like
I was one of those people.
I was one of those.
I created like two.
I had one. And before that, I used to do, I would do car diaries. I would just sit in my car and record myself talking about like whatever.
Hmm.
So like it just, I don't know, it's just really interesting. I think that was like, of course, that was during COVID when we really had nothing to do.
Yeah,
So
absolutely
we just
nothing.
wanted to hear ourselves talk
Yeah,
about whatever.
whatever.
That in exchange, Harrington asked Jay to come back to his apartment. But Jay said he believed Harrington was trying to lure him there to beat him up. Jay agreed only if Harrington reciprocated oral sex, and Harrington agreed. On July 22nd, police moved in. They matched Harrington to the white Kia Optima seen in the surveillance, then went to his apartment at DLP Oxford, where he told officers he was moving to Dallas soon. He was detained and taken in for questioning, where he said he bought duct tape at Walmart before going on a run. Obviously, that's really dubious. During the search, officers recovered his MacBook, keys, dark shorts, and a Walmart receipt showing duct tape purchased at 6:41 a.m. Cadaver dogs alerted in his apartment and car, and investigators found hair and bodily fluids in the vehicle. That same day, Harrington was arrested and booked into the Lafayette County Detention Center. As the investigation widened, police searched Harrington's family home in Grenada and found video showing him retrieving a long handled shovel and a wheelbarrow and placing them in the back of a box truck. A forensic copy of his MacBook later revealed searches and web activity that prosecutors would say were highly incriminating, including queries related to strangulation and body disposal, along with video of him inspecting trash bins before buying duct tape. They all do the same thing. They all are looking. Why do they think that police officers aren't going to look up their information, or even if you delete it, there's a way for them to track this stuff down.
Yeah, even going on your private browser,
Yep,
it's
even
not private.
you're not safe. Even with a VPN, I'm sure, like
Hmm.
to an extent,
Yeah,
there's only so much that you can keep private before, especially if something incriminating like this happens, they can just pull that
yeah,
shit right
pull it
back
right
up.
up.
So don't be looking up creepy shit, y'all.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
there's
So don't be doing
a
it.
lot of things you should not look up.
Yeah, because they're watching.
Yeah, you'll get put on. You'll definitely be put on a watch list.
Yeah, especially nowadays, they're
Yeah,
not
you're
playing.
definitely going to be put on a watch list.
The case eventually went to trial, but the first proceedings ended in a mistrial after jurors could not agree on a verdict. The absence of Jay's body weighed heavily on the case. During the preliminary hearing, Harrington's attorney, State Representative Kevin Horan, repeatedly asked Baker if OPD had reviewed the training DeSoto County gives its cadaver dogs or checked to see if the dogs had ever before identified the smell of a dead body. Baker said that he had not. The dogs also alert during a search of Harrington's car, and an OPD technician finds blonde hair near the driver's seat and a back passenger seat. In the trunk, Baker testified that an OPD technician found bodily fluid in the shape of a footprint, but did not specify what kind. So they're not really doing enough with that. Also, I want to say that Jimmy J. Lee was known to wear extensions and braids in his hair. So that isn't far fetched if one of his loose hairs fell out, like a blonde hair. Like there's pictures of him with blonde braids and colorful hair. So
Mm-hmm.
that's not really
Anything.
yeah, no.
Mm-hmm.
Police also bring in for questioning the driver of the Kia Optima, who says that he was driving on Molly Bar trails the morning of July 8th when he saw Harrington jogging. The driver says that Harrington told him he was gassed from a run and needed a ride back to his apartment. Baker gets an affidavit for Harrington's arrest, and he's booked into Lafayette County Detention Center around 8:15 p.m. July 25th and 26th. OPD expands its search for Lee's remains to Grenada County and takes possession of Harrington's box truck in Oxford. July 27th, OPD receives a forensic copy of Harrington's MacBook that shows his Google search history. The forensic copy shows that on July 7th, Harrington had Googled flights from Dallas to Singapore. So this is showing premeditation.
Mm-hmm.
That night, he looked at a Twitter profile titled hashtag Trans Lives Matter that posts pornographic videos of trans people.
All right.
All right.
So he's a trans fetishist?
Oh, for sure. Usually people, DL men, they're the gamut. They hit all of the terrible boxes. So
Mm.
yeah, he definitely is a chaser. I
Oh,
would not be surprised at all.
man, I swear to God.
Yeah, they're awful. Not all men, just most.
Majority.
The copy also showed that Harrington was looking at Lee's Twitter page at 5:21 a.m., a few minutes after he first messaged Lee on Snapchat. At 5:56 a.m., minutes after Lee messaged Harrington, he was on his way. The copy shows that Harrington searched, "How long does it take to strangle someone? Gabby Petito." Then, does pre workout boost testosterone? OPD also obtains video from Walmart showing Harrington viewing garbage cans shortly before purchasing duct tape at 6:41 a.m. He's moving. He's really moving with this
Mm-hmm.
shit. July 29th. Police searched Harrington's parents' house in Grenada after getting a search warrant. Officers also obtained video footage of Harrington retrieving a long handled shovel and wheelbarrow from his parents' house and putting it into the back of a box truck. The first trial began December 2023. Prosecutors showed security video of Lee leaving his apartment and argued Harrington lured Lee to his home, trying to hide their relationship. Witnesses took to the stand, and digital data became a key part of the case. After 9 hours of deliberations, the jury couldn't reach a unanimous verdict. The main reason was that no body had been found at that time. On December 11th, 2024, the judge declared a mistrial. So let's go to the remains. The whereabouts of Lee's body were previously unknown at the time, with a judge previously declaring Lee legally dead in October 2024, a couple of months before Harrington's first trial in December of 2024. In early February 2025, the investigation took another turn when human remains were found in rural Carroll County. DNA confirmed they belonged to Jay Lee, but the Mississippi State Medical Examiner could not determine either the cause or manner of Jimmy J. Lee's death because his remains were too decomposed. This is where I get confused and I get frustrated because, like, okay, let's bring up the David and Celeste case. So had, he cut her body up into little pieces. And her body had been, at the time that they had discovered her body was decomposed for, I want to say, at least 7+ months, but they were still able to determine her cause of death, obviously. And there are other situations, there are other cases where they're able to determine the cause of death, but with him, somehow they're not able to figure that out. It's really, really frustrating for me. The autopsy reportedly ruled out blunt force trauma, sharp force trauma, and firearm injury as causes, but the official finding remained undetermined. Though the discovery brought little comfort to those who had spent so long searching for answers, finding Jay's body marked a pivotal break in the case. It was one step closer to accountability, one step closer to justice, and ultimately one step closer to a guilty verdict. So let's go to the 2025 trial. Harrington's attorney filed a motion to dismiss his case, saying the district attorney's office violated Harrington's right to a fair trial. After a hearing, that motion was dismissed by the judge. Harrington initially maintained his innocence by pleading not guilty. His plea was changed Monday, roughly 3 hours after jury selection began for the murder trial. The sentencing comes one day after Harrington pleaded guilty, Monday, December 1st, 2025, in Madison County during the day of jury selection for a retrial to second-degree murder and tampering with evidence, which had been previously dismissed by Luther in connection with Lee's death. Before Luther handed down the sentence, Lee's father, Jimmy Lee Sr., addressed the court with the witness stand with Stephanie Lee, Lee's mother, standing beside him. Jimmy Lee Sr. said he was a broken father. The father and pastor said he knew from the beginning that Harrington killed his son. The father said his family has been reliving July 8th, 2022, the day Lee went missing. Lee Sr. said Tuesday is a sad day for his family as they come to terms with the fact that their loved one is no longer alive. The father expressed that the family can no longer see Lee or hear his voice in person, but only in their memories. I had to witness my son's skeletal remains. I touched his skull. No father should have to go through that. No parent should have to go through that. Jay trusted you. I think you have two kids who are very good kids from good families, both graduates of Old Miss University. I think sometimes bad things happen to good people on both sides, Sellers said. Bullshit. Bullshit. Two good kids,
Yeah.
one one planned Jay Lee's murder. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Two good kids. They're
And
saying
it's
that because
and planned, pre-planned,
yes,
and it's
yes,
getting a second degree murder.
all because he was down low. You see, so what I wasn't talking about was Tim Harrington grew up in a very Christian household.
Of course.
So, but so did Jay Lee.
Yeah.
Jay Lee had a pastor father. I mean, I know the experience. I have a father who's also a pastor. He ain't shit, but we're not going to get into that. The point
Right.
is, I know what it's like to grow up in a very Christian household.
Me too.
You still, exactly.
Yeah.
Just because you grow up Christian does not mean that you can go around killing people just because you're not proud of who you are or you can't accept who you are or the people around you can accept you.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just goodness. Don't call him good. There's nothing good about someone who did something like that. And it took him actually, I believe it took him 3 years to find his body.
Yeah.
3 years. And you want to call him good.
Crazy.
After years of unanswered questions, surveillance footage, digital messages, and a painstaking search finally led investigators to a conclusion the case had long been building towards. In the end, the man once accused of disappearing Jay Lee did not walk away free. He stood before the court, admitted guilt, and was sentenced to 40 years behind bars. Following the 40-year sentence, Harrington will serve an additional 10 years of post release supervision, including 5 years of supervised probation and 5 years of unsupervised probation.
That's crazy.
So he's about 25 right now. So he'll be 65 when he gets out of jail, if he survives.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he doesn't. And then after that, he's not going to live a free life. I don't think I honestly don't think that he'll survive this. I really don't think he will. But if he does, I hope that he's tortured. He suffers.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to talk about a brief history of hate crimes in Mississippi. Mississippi's blood-stained history bears brutal witness. From the 2011 murder of James Craig Anderson, beaten to death by white supremacists, haunting hunting black victims in Jackson, to the goon squad of rogue cops who tortured black men in 2023, a state where hate has long worn badges and swung fists without remorse. Mississippi's hate crime laws saw no meaningful changes since 2020 to protect LGBTQ plus individuals. The state's 1994 statute still excludes sexual orientation and gender identity, leaving victims reliant on patchy federal fallback like the 2009 Matthew Shepard Act. Bills floated in 2023 like HB 427 teased additions for sexual orientation and gender identity, but they died in committee, of course.
Mm.
Same old story in a state that spent decades stacking the deck against its own. No expansions passed, no protections added, just more anti trans bathroom bans and healthcare blocks piling on since 2021, turning legislative sessions into a one-way street of restriction while festers unchecked. The conclusion: in the suffocating shadows of this tragedy, one concern claws its way to the surface: the deadly toll of down low culture strangling black men in the South. Forced into the closet by a world that wields judgment like a blade, or rotting from within by venomous self hatred, denying your truth doesn't just carve scars into the soul, it festers into a poison that seeps into every corner of your life, twisting love into violence and desire into death. For Black LGBTQ plus men, the darkness runs deeper still. Layered atop a legacy of sodomy laws etched into the books since 1802 and hate crime statuses that still ignore sexual orientation, leaving lives unprotected until federal intervention steps in. And since 2020, nothing. No upgrades to shield sexual orientation or gender identity, just stalled bills and a legislature more eager to ban trans bathrooms than to save queer lives. The gap between law and blood stays wide open. For Tim Harrington, that buried rot didn't stay quiet. It erupted in the pre dawn hours of July 8th, fueled by deception and rage, extinguishing Jay Lee's life in a storm of duct tape, dark searches, and a shovel loaded into a truck. One hidden wound became a fatal lie, not just his own, but one that snuffed out another man's future in cold blood. Jay's family waited years for remains that offered no cause of death, no final clarity, just a hollow echo of a plea that went unanswered. In Harrington, 40 years in a cage can't unmake the darkness he unleashed, or the secrets that Mississippi's unforgiving soil helped him bury until they broke free in the worst way possible. This isn't just a murder case, it's a siren from the grave. In the South's unspoken closets, the lies we live don't just haunt us, they hunt us, they kill, they claim victims generation after generation while the law still stands silent. So, that is the true crime of Jimmy J. Lee. And I remember hearing about this case probably a year ago,
I'm gonna
a
be
year and
honest.
a half.
I never heard it before.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. They said like I was reading a lot of a lot of news about it. Down south mostly, a lot of southern news fronts. They're saying that it was everywhere. It wasn't. Um,
It was not.
because you didn't hear about it. And most people I know don't even know who this person is either. But it's again shows another issue, not just down low culture, but also the fact that they bury cases about POC weird people.
A lot of the time.
Yeah. And I mean, the plus side is that this person, their family, their friends, the people who knew him were able to find some sort of justice. Um, the the guy, the murderer, him, he's going to jail. He's in jail. But most of the time, you don't hear cases like that. Most of the time, nothing happens to the murderer. So, there is, I guess, light at the end of this really, really dark tunnel.
Hmm. Interesting. That is definitely something. I also chose to go the hate crime route, actually.
We can't not. I feel like, we're probably going to be talking about a lot of hate crime
Yeah,
cases.
so I don't know if you're aware, but in like, I think it was 2023 was the murder of Brianna Ghey in the UK, a 16-year-old trans woman.
I may have heard something about it, but I'm gonna have to listen.
All right, but yeah, I remember that case. I remember hearing about it on TikTok first. And I was like, all right.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went down like a deep dive. It was quite the case. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna definitely talk about it. Brianna Ghey, born the 7th of November in 2006. She was a 16-year-old transgender girl and a year 11 pupil at Birchwood Community High School in the Birchwood area of Warrington. As a teenager, Gay was diagnosed with ADHD and autism, which her mother said impaired her ability to identify dangerous situations as well as anxiety. These diagnoses also meant that Gay did not participate in regular lessons and required one on one tutoring in her school's inclusion room, where Gay eventually met Jenkinson, which is someone I'll tell you a bit later.
Jenkinson.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Mm. That's
okay. All
that's
right.
the
I'm not gonna
person's
jump in.
last name.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
their last. Okay.
But according to her friends, Gay often helped younger transgender girls to safely and legally get transgender hormone therapy. She reportedly faced years of transphobic harassment and bullying, including at school, a part of which was being repeatedly gang beaten.
God.
Hmm. However, in a statement reportedly approved by Gay's mother, Birchwood's head teacher denied that Gay had faced bullying at school.
You said the mother?
According to Gay's mother, the headmaster, the head teacher of Birchwood,
Gotcha.
said that Gay wasn't facing any
So no
harassment.
support.
Yeah.
Okay, another story.
Hmm. Gay was a TikToker, with her number of followers variously reported as 11,000, 31,000, and 63,000.
Wow.
On TikTok, she mimed and danced to popular songs. One of her final TikToks said that she was excluded from school. After her death, her TikTok account was deleted,
That's
which is interesting
fucked up.
because a lot of the deaths that I've seen are hate crimes or whatever. The TikToks turn into memorial pages,
Mhm. Yeah,
but not with,
her.
yeah.
They deleted it completely.
Hmm.
That's really messed up.
It's super messed up. Because, like, I know I've seen, so have you heard of Inquisitor,
No.
the TikToker? This is a little off topic. But the TikToker Inquisitor was accused of pedophilia by a moderator in his Discord who was put up to try to quote unquote catch him.
Mm.
And then her and his group of alleged friends made up this entire grooming story, screenshotted all of his messages to make him look bad and to make him look like a groomer, like frame it in their narrative. He ended up going live on TikTok and killing himself.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. So they framed him. So
Hmm.
he
And
wasn't.
they didn't tell the truth until after he killed himself.
That's so fucked up.
And then they faced backlash for it.
Yeah.
And then they were like, "Oh, we didn't mean for it to go this far. It was just a joke."
A joke?
Yeah, on all this because there's other stuff.
Hell of a joke.
Hell of a joke.
Hell of a fucking joke. Cause that the extremeness of it, what were they expecting that he was going to do? This was going to damage him and his
Forever.
following
Forever.
forever. It's not just some funny little joke.
Yeah.
And now he's gone.
But I think his TikTok is memorialized now.
Yeah.
Um, and he also has a character in one of the newest Call of Duty games.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
You know,
'cause
when you were
he was
describing,
a Call of Duty cosplayer.
yeah,
Yeah.
wow. When you were describing it, like when you were talking about it, I thought it was going to go in the direction of he was an actual groomer, he was an
No, no,
actual
no, no,
pedophile.
no. He was a great guy.
So, because
He
there's
was a
so
great
many
guy.
cases, there's so many influencers out there, not just on TikTok, who end up being gross, just monsters.
Hmm.
Usually they are grooming their kids, their fans, they're assaulting people
Yeah.
and getting away with it. So I thought it was going to be another story,
Oh
but
no.
that ended up really, really tragically.
Yeah. I mean, my guess for Gay at least is that since she was 16 at the time, maybe her parents made a decision to delete her TikTok.
Yeah.
Just
But
didn't want to be
still,
reminded.
I mean, I guess I can understand that train of thought, but also, what about Gay's friends? What about her followers?
Hmm.
Or just people wanting to get more personal with Gay, like to know who she was before everything happened. You don't get that.
No.
And I'm sure there's probably videos lingering around, but just to have like her own something that she created,
Yeah.
staying there so people
And
can.
now it's
And now it's
off the
gone.
internet,
Yeah,
unless someone archived everything.
I hope
'Cause
so.
people are archiving everything.
I hope so, though. I really hope so.
But I'm going to give information on the perpetrators. So Scarlett Jenkinson had attended Colchester High School alongside Radcliffe. She faced permanent exclusion after an incident on 27th of September 2022 in which she brought CBD infused edibles into school, giving them to a younger classmate who then fell ill. The incident, which police recorded as a spiking, occurred 4 months before Jenkinson would first attempt to murder Gray by poisoning her with ibuprofen tablets.
I heard about this.
Yeah.
I remember that is one thing that stuck in my head. The poisoning.
Hmm.
I heard about this. Okay, continue.
As an alternative to exclusion, Jenkinson was allowed to transfer to Birchwood, where she met and formed a friendship with Gay. In text messages with Radcliffe, Jenkinson revealed that she was obsessed with Gay. In an interview with Richard Church, a child psychiatrist, Jenkinson stated that she felt as if she were about to lose Gay as a friend and that she wanted to, quote, kill her so that she would always be with her, end quote. Crazy shit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Putting it fucking lightly.
Crazy shit.
But
Into
also,
it.
I hear a lot of kids talk like this.
Yeah,
This isn't uncommon for them
no,
to get
it's not uncommon.
obsessive and
People are doing
possessive.
it way more these days.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
It is.
Even adults.
Oh.
Oh, I know. I
Oh.
know. Yeah, that was fun for me.
Let's not get into that right now.
Yeah, no, that's a lot. That's a lot to
Yeah.
go into right now. Yeah,
Like we'll just
maybe we'll do that when there's an
like a
episode for
segment.
lore or something like
Yeah.
that. Where,
Yeah.
like we just tell our past and
Oh
shit.
shit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be like a whole series.
Oh, it's gonna be a whole thing.
This
Yeah,
is gonna be
it's gonna be a whole thing.
oh shit, yeah, we should really do that.
But before the murder, Jenkinson displayed a fascination with serial killers, watching documentaries and keeping notes about notorious killers including Jeffrey Dahmer and John Wayne Gacy. She reportedly used the Tor browser to access videos of torture and murder on the dark web. I hate that these kinds of people put kind of stigmas on people who watch documentaries and
Absolutely.
are fascinated with serial killers like we are.
They
We're not going
already
out there and murder people.
People just already like to demonize people that are fascinated by true crime and stuff like that.
Yeah.
People already want to put a dark stamp on people like us who are fascinated and want to understand and get into the minds of people that commit these crimes. And, you know, for me, I know it's not to, the fascination doesn't come from necessarily a dark place for me. I genuinely want to, I
What's
genuinely
going
want
on in
to,
there psychologically?
yeah, that's what I went to school for. Like, that's what I'm fascinated by. I'm fascinated by human behavior
Hmm.
and what they're thinking.
Especially like because there's like prerequisites, right? That you
Mhm.
get in psychiatry for serial killers. I have a lot of those prerequisites,
Yeah,
but there's something that happens in their life that pushes them over that edge.
absolutely. There's
And
always a
like
trauma.
and for some reason it can be literally anything.
Yeah, quite literally,
Yeah. Like one day they could just be chilling, haven't killed anybody before, and then think of something traumatic in their childhood.
and
And
that
they're
be the
like,
thing to set them off.
yeah,
Yeah.
or like a memory that they've forgotten or blocked off comes back, something like that. I hope that doesn't happen to me. That's gonna be some crazy shit.
Oh,
From
yeah.
podcaster to serial killer.
That will definitely be a section. Oh,
He'll get on here. Remember Siren? Yeah,
what?
that bitch is doing 25 to life now. Pretty sure she's getting the death sentence.
Crazy. Yeah, it really is sad, but I think that it definitely takes a turn for people that want to, because I think that for people that commit crimes,
Hmm.
they there is an intent behind it. I feel
Always.
like, it's never just a fact. It's never just starts off as a fascination. They want to commit these crimes themselves, and then of course there's the
Hmm.
obsession with the murderer. Like, everyone is a fan, and I've heard in the past 2 weeks people talking about being fans of Jeffrey Dahmer. There's that what
Basic. Honestly.
basic. Seriously,
Basic.
he was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
He was a fucking coward
Hmm.
because the people that he chose to prey on, he knew that nobody was gonna, police officers weren't gonna be looking for him, so he was gonna get away with it. That's not badass. He was a fucking monster.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
The other perpetrator of this murder was Eddie Radcliffe, a pupil at Colchester High School at the time of the murder. He was described by a fellow student as a role model who achieved top grades. Radcliffe first met Jenkinson in school at age 11. In 2018, he competed at a kickboxing championship organized by ISKA in Jamaica as an amateur kickboxer. Described in one of Jenkinson's notebooks as intelligent but socially awkward, Radcliffe was known to be a loner. According to neighbors, he never showed any signs of violence prior to the murder.
Of course.
It's always sad, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Radcliffe had a fascination with knives and also a collection of blades. He bought the hunting knife used for the murder during a skiing trip to Bulgaria. And to the murder, on the morning of February 11th, 2023, Gay was messaged by Jenkinson instructing her to take a bus to Colchester Library later that afternoon. At 12:45 p.m., Gay was captured on the doorbell camera leaving her house in Birchwood. While leaving, Gay messaged her mother about meeting up with Jenkinson. Following Jenkinson's directions, Gay walked 25 minutes to the Birchwood railway station and boarded a bus at 1:38 p.m., after which she texted her mother. At 1:53 p.m., Gay met with Jenkinson and her friend Eddie Radcliffe, whom Gay had not met before, at the bus stop outside the library. At 2:02 p.m., they were last seen on CCTV heading toward Colchester Linear Park, where multiple eyewitnesses saw them walking together, exchanging messages on Snapchat. Gay, whom Jenkinson had lured under the impression that they were going to take drugs, sent a message to Jenkinson at 2:15 p.m. Quote, "Girl, I'ma wait where I am until we have the drugs. LOL. I'm too anxious." End quote. Jenkinson, posing as a fake dealer on Snapchat, exchanged messages with herself, arranging meeting plans at 2:30 p.m. Gay, having grown suspicious of Jenkinson, messaged a friend, quote, "Scarlett, is so weird. I think she's pretending to have a dealer, unquote. Afterwards, Gay was attacked directly after she sent that message. Jenkinson and Radcliffe were spotted from a distance by a woman walking her dog with her husband in the park. After realizing they had been noticed, they fled the scene. The couple then discovered Gay's body, face down and bleeding heavily, and called emergency services at 3:13 p.m. At 4:02 p.m., Gay was pronounced dead by the paramedics at the scene. And now on to the investigation.
Mhm.
A home office postmortem was ordered to determine the cause of death. The examination found that Gay had been stabbed 28 times across her head, neck, chest, and back. Prosecutor Leanne Gallagher would later describe the attack on Gay as extremely brutal and punishing. On the 12th of February 2023, Radcliffe from Lay and Jenkinson from Warrington, both 15, were arrested simultaneously at their homes.
So sad.
Detective Chief Superintendent Mike Evans described the killing as a targeted attack, though initially reported that, quote, there is no evidence to suggest that the circumstances surrounding Brianna's death are hate related, end quote. On February 14th, police reported they were investigating all lines of inquiry, including whether the attack had been a hate crime. On February 15th, the suspects were charged with murder, refused bail, and placed in youth detention. The next day, the suspects appeared via video link in a brief hearing at Liverpool Crown Court. At this hearing, Judge David Aubrey remanded them in youth detention, accommodation until a plea and a trial preparation hearing on May 2nd, 2023. The accused were not required to enter a plea and were remanded until a further hearing on May 11th. In a pretrial hearing on the 20th of July, one of the suspects entered a plea of not guilty. A further pretrial hearing took place on October 4th, 2023, during which the other suspect pleaded not guilty. And now we go on to the trial.
Wow.
So the trial commenced at Manchester Crown Court on November 27th, 2023. Due to the nature of the case and the ages of those involved, reporting restrictions were put in place preventing the naming of both of the defendants, as well as any other children mentioned during the trial. During the trial, Jenkinson was referred to as Girl X and Ratcliffe as Boy Y. The case was heard by Amanda Yip, who briefed 14 potential jurors on Gay's transgender identity, reporting restrictions concerning the defendants and other facts of the murder ahead of the trial. So the pretrial.
Mm.
While in custody, Jenkinson was found to have traits of autism and ADHD. Radcliffe was diagnosed after arrest as autistic and as having selective mutism, resulting in an inability to speak to anyone except his mother. Reasonable accommodations were made for both of the accused during the trial. Due to his selective mutism, Radcliffe was allowed to communicate with the court by typing on a computer. Both perpetrators were given the option to participate in proceedings via a video link rather than in person. The jury were also told that their various degrees of neurodivergence could affect the ways both Jenkinson and Radcliffe might react or speak in the proceedings.
I just find that so fascinating.
So interesting.
Now, granted, people that have disabilities of
Mm-hmm.
any kind, whether it's physical or you're neurodivergent,
Mm-hmm.
you should be allowed the necessary
Of
accommodations.
course. Sometimes we're not.
But mutism
Selective mutism is,
at a time
yeah,
like this
yeah,
too, you know?
with no prior record
Yeah,
of it.
none. I just getting diagnosed with autism and ADHD, which granted, there's no
Happens.
time.
Yeah,
There's really no perfect timing to
some
get a
people get
diagnosis, but
diagnosed
I
as adults.
just find it coincidental that this case is what took them to get the diagnosis.
Mm-hmm. Especially the diagnosis of selective mutism.
Also, respectfully, it doesn't fucking matter if you murdered a child.
Yeah,
I don't care.
I don't give a fuck what you are.
Oh, poor baby.
Yeah.
You're still going to jail.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, bitch, I'm autistic too.
Under the
That don't
fucking
mean
jail.
shit.
That's
It
what? It's a cop out.
is. I would never use my autism as an excuse.
You can try if you want to try to get out of some shit, but that ain't gonna work.
I'm clinically insane.
Yeah.
I'm already. They'll still
For an
think,
excuse.
yeah,
Lock your ass
yeah, they
up.
still are for real. So whatever. I would never use it. Anything I'd be like, I just said.
You probably won't sue. It's more likely somebody deserves this shit.
Exactly. Exactly. If I'm killing somebody, it's gonna be a Nazi.
It was oh fuck yeah.
Not that I'm going to.
No,
Saying if it happens. Hypothetically,
hypothetical.
yes, yes. We don't condone killing people here. But if a Nazi tries you, don't be afraid to protect yourself. That's all we're
Yeah,
saying.
I'm just saying. We should be allowed to defend ourselves and
Yeah,
the people that we care about.
exactly. So the prosecution case. So the prosecution was led by Deanna here, with Cheryl Matram acting as the junior barrister. The prosecution case opened in the afternoon of November 27th, 2023, and concluded on December 8th, 2023. The prosecution presented text message evidence that Jenkinson had previously tried to poison Gay using an excessive amount of ibuprofen, resulting in Gay becoming extremely sick with what her mother had thought was appendicitis. Jenkinson poisoned her, believing that the murder would be mistaken for a suicidal overdose due to Gay's mental health struggles. After Gay survived the attempt, the defendants planned to kill her by stabbing her with a hunting knife purchased by Radcliffe. Prior to these attempts, text messages recorded Jenkinson as admitting to being obsessed with Gay, calling her, quote, really different and really pretty, end quote. Radcliffe also stated over text that he wanted to, quote, see if it will scream like a man or a girl, end quote.
Using the term it to describe a trans girl.
Crazy.
Interesting.
Who doesn't use that pronoun?
Doesn't that it I'm sorry, you know what? It is a pronoun for some people,
Mm-hmm.
but when it comes to transphobic people, that is dehumanizing.
Super dehumanizing.
He clearly did not see her
Oh,
as a
he
person.
definitely didn't. He admitted he didn't.
Disgusting. Ugh. Ugh. Trash.
I would
Trash all the
always
way.
refer to her as it.
Hmm. Probably the same one who, if we mispronouned him,
Would freak the
probably.
fuck out
Oh,
about
he
it.
would be
Freak
pissed,
the fuck out about
ready to beat
it.
ass.
It's crazy how transphobes, when they say, "Oh, pronouns aren't a thing," you're just being weird. You got a mental illness, and I'm like, "Okay, ma'am."
Yep.
And they're like, "I'm a guy. I'm a man. I'm a male."
Why you getting mad? Why you
Mm-hmm.
mad?
I'm like, I thought pronouns weren't a thing.
Yeah, you little bitch.
You over here calling me sir? I call you
Seriously,
ma'am.
it's so fucking
I call you
disrespectful.
ma'am.
It's a double standard.
I'm sorry I have a deep ass voice. It's not my fault.
I got a deep ass voice too.
Shit.
You got wide shoulders.
Yeah.
All right.
Broad ass fucking shoulder.
Well, look, and I got a lot of testosterone running through this body. Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm. Fuck off my ass, bitch.
Get out of here. It's a they them over here.
Oh, hey,
You
me.
can't
Oh, so I'm
she
beautiful, nigga.
her. Yeah, oh, shit. Don't you use those EMs. Although I don't give a shit. Don't you use that shit.
So, the defense case. Both Jenkinson and Ratcliffe made separate defense cases. Richard Pratt led the defense case for Jenkinson, with Sarah Holt acting as junior. Richard Littler led the defense case for Radcliffe, with Stephen Swift acting as junior. Each defendant placed the blame for the actual killing upon each other, arguing that they themselves were only accessories to the act. Defense,
Okay.
yeah.
So who did it?
Depends on who you ask. Because if you ask Jenkinson, she'll tell you Radcliffe did it. If you ask Radcliffe, he'll tell you Jenkinson did it.
Okay. Huh.
As it always is.
Always.
Everyone's willing to do something until it's time to be accountable for it.
Then they just cop out and little bitches.
Mm-hmm. So, defense for Radcliffe said that Jenkinson had told him to bring his hunting knife to the park and that she, quote, had a plan to stab Brianna, end quote. Radcliffe further stated that he did not take Jenkinson's alleged plan seriously because she had a history of, quote, always talking about murder and nothing happens, end quote. But you still brought the fucking knife, didn't you? If
Fuck.
you didn't take it seriously, I wouldn't have brought the fucking knife.
It was just a toy. They were just playing with them.
Yeah. If it was like, oh, I didn't take it seriously, I wouldn't have
Yeah,
brought it.
yeah. Why would you bring it?
Why would you bring
What
it
was the
if you didn't take
necessity
it
in that?
seriously?
Exactly.
It's crazy. This allegedly ended with Jenkinson stabbing Gay to death, which he saw. He denied holding any animosity towards Gay regarding her trans identity. Ratcliffe's defense accused Jenkinson of manipulating him due to his autism. Motherfucker uses autism.
Oh, and denies having any real position on Gay, even though he was saying she was an it.
Mm-hmm.
He just wanted to see how it would squeal.
Yeah, if it would scream like a boy or a girl.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Crazy.
Uh-huh.
Jenkinson's defense held that while she may have lured Gay to the park where she was stabbed and come up with the plan in question, it was only done so as part of a, quote, fantasy, end quote, and that it was Radcliffe who carried out the stabbing to Jenkinson's shock.
Huh.
Hmm. She described herself as not stopping the act despite her surprise due to being afraid of Radcliffe, describing him as a, quote, sociopath,
Huh.
end quote. Jenkinson's defense also pointed out how an excess amount of Gay's blood was later found on Ratcliffe's clothing, while none was found on Jenkinson's.
Hmm. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's pointing to Radcliffe for sure, but I mean, we all know they were both fucking involved in this bullshit.
Yeah.
They planned it,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah.
So the verdict and sentencing. The trial lasted 3 weeks and concluded on December 20th, 2023. Both defendants were found guilty of the murder of Gay. Jury deliberations lasted for 4 hours and 40 minutes. Yip indicated that life sentences would be forthcoming. On December 21st, 2023, Yip ruled that anonymity orders that protected the identities of the convicted murders would be lifted and they would be named during the sentencing hearing. On February 2nd, 2024, the sentencing hearing was held at Manchester Crown Court, before which the two teenagers were named. The judge determined that there was, quote, a strong public interest in the full and unrestricted reporting of what is plainly an exceptional case, end quote. The sentencing hearing included victim impact statements from Gay's parents and stepfather. The court also held updated assessments by psychiatrists of the perpetrators. Jenkinson has antisocial personality disorder rather than autism, and that Radcliffe has a, quote, mild form of autism spectrum disorder. Jenkinson was sentenced to be detained at His Majesty's pleasure with a minimum term of 22 years, and Radcliffe was also detained at His Majesty's pleasure with a minimum term of 20 years. Jenkinson will be eligible to be considered for parole on January 25th, 2044, while Radcliffe will be eligible to be considered for parole on January 25th, 2042. And handing down the sentences, Yip described the murder as, quote, sadistic in nature, where a secondary motive was hostility towards Gay because of her transgender identity, end quote. The trial aftermath. Speaking outside the Manchester Crown Court after the verdicts were issued, Gay's mother, Esther Gay, and father, Peter Spooner, gave statements to the media expressing grief and mourning the loss of their daughter. Despite remarking that the defendant seemed remorseless for the killing, Gay's mother urged the public to show empathy for the families of the defendants. After the trial, Detective Mike Evans said that he thought Gay was not killed because she was a transgender, but that being transgender made her,
quote, more vulnerable and accessible, end quote. Evans called the language used by Radcliffe when talking about Gay dehumanizing. It was announced by the Judicial Office on March 7th, 2024, that Radcliffe had applied for permission to appeal his sentence. Permission to appeal was refused at a hearing in December of 2024.
Good.
The sentences of both Jenkinson and Radcliffe were referred to the Attorney General Victoria Prentice under the unduly lenient sentences scheme. On April 16th, however, Prentice announced that the sentences would not be reviewed because the threshold to do so had not been met. And then the general aftermath. On March 8th, 2023, an inquest into Gay's death was opened at Warrington Coroner's Court and subsequently adjourned until the trial. A pre inquest hearing was scheduled for August 17th, 2023. In June, the inquest into Gay's death was put on hold pending the outcome of the criminal proceedings, as we all know how that turned out.
Hmm.
Gay's funeral was held at St. Elphin's Church, Warrington, on March 15th, 2023. Hundreds of mourners were joined by local dignitaries. A TikTok memorial account and a GoFundMe page were set up by Gay's friends to support her family. It raised £70,000 in 3 days and amassed over 36,000 followers on TikTok. After Gay's fundraising page amassed £100,000, her family thanked people for their, quote, overwhelming generosity, end quote, and stated that the money was spent on her funeral, refurbishing her room, and the purchase of cremation jewelry for their family's remembrance. Some of the donations were designated for a UK children's mental health charity. Candlelight vigils were held across the United Kingdom and in Dublin, Ireland, in a week after Gay's death. The attendance at many of these vigils numbered in the hundreds to thousands. A Cheshire Constabulary investigating officer said Gay's family were overwhelmed by the messages of support, positivity, and the compassion across the country and beyond. On February 13th, a no fly zone was instituted over the site of the killing in response to flights by drones. Despite the no fly zone, people continued to fly drones over the site, prompting condemnation from police. An LGBTQ themed radio station, Gadio, announced that it had collaborated with the other LGBTQ stations in the UK to broadcast A Minute's Silence at 11 a.m. February 17th. The silence was preceded by a feature introduced by a transgender presenter, Stephanie Hurst, in which she reflected on the discrimination and violence often experienced by trans people and paid tribute to Gay. And now the reactions. Gay's death prompted responses from her family, local community, politicians, charities, activists, and musicians. Gay's family said her death had, quote, left a massive hole in our family, end quote. Emma Mills, head teacher of Birchwood Community High School, said, quote, we are shocked and truly devastated to hear of the death of Brianna, end quote. Parent of one of Gay's friends, speaking with the Daily Mail, alleged that the killing was a hate crime. Labor Party MP Don Butler said on Twitter, said that, quote, anyone in the media who is using her dead name, trying to erase Brianna's identity, should be ashamed of themselves, end quote. Another Labor Party MP, Nadia Whitcomb, said, quote, Brianna deserved a chance to become a beautiful adult woman and to live to see a world where trans people are safe and respected, end quote. Former Labor Party leader Jeremy Corbyn responded by saying, quote, she was killed because she wanted to be herself, end quote, and added, quote, my thoughts are with Brianna's family and the trans community fighting for safety, dignity, and liberation, end quote. The Miami Herald reported that thousands in the LGBTQ community and users of social media were grieving over the stabbing, the death of Gay. LGBTQ rights charity Stonewall and transgender youth charity Mermaids expressed sympathy for Gay's family. Transgender community helplines reported large increases in calls soon after Gay's death, with topics concerning transphobia, gender identity, and hate crimes. Various musicians tweeted their sorrow, disgust, and support, including Youngblood, Big Joni, and Reverend and the Makers.
I know Youngblood. I listen to some of his music actually. He's a decent person. He really is a decent.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Then we go on to the gender recognition. So, Twitter campaigns called for the UK government to issue a gender recognition certificate to Gay, quote, so that she can have the dignity and death that everyone else in this world takes for granted, end quote. A petition circulated, reaching more than 13,000 signatures, for Gay's death certificate to posthumously reflect her gender as female. The petition was rejected by the British government, who stated in response that the current policy, quote, strikes the right balance, end quote, and that they had no plans to change it.
Wow.
In April of 2023, the Trans Safety Network reported that, contrary to popular belief, quote, in an ongoing case concerning a trans person's death, the coroner has agreed that gender recognition certificate is unnecessary in order to record the correct name and gender of a trans person on their death certificate, end quote.
Bullshit.
Bullshit.
Wow.
Crazy word. Crazy
So
fucking
across
word.
across the ponds, it's really a lot of transphobia everywhere.
Yeah. After I'm done covering this, I'm gonna read you some statistics on the transgender hate crime in the
Great.
UK.
Love to hear it. No, but it is important to stay up to date with those things, as heartbreaking as it is.
In the third quarter of 2023, the death of Brianna Ghey was registered under her correct name and female gender at death. And then we get criticism of the media. Some UK media outlets, including the Daily Express and the Times, were criticized for their reporting of Gay's death. The Trans Safety Network said that some UK media outlets were publicly disrespecting Gay in their coverage of her death. Initial reporting by both BBC News and Sky News did not state that Gay was transgender. The Times faced strong criticism after amending their original story by removing the word girl and including Gay's dead name.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fucking assholes.
The Times
The
Slater.
Times, the New I'm sorry, but
The
was it New York Times or
the Times. It's like a British daily national newspaper.
okay?
It's based in London. Yeah,
Yeah,
not the New York Times.
that's
Although the New York
I
Times would do
mean,
that too.
I wouldn't even be able to.
I'm pretty sure the New York Times would
They're
do that too.
awful.
Yeah. The Times later amended their story again to remove the dead name and re-add the word girl. So the website, The Mary Sue, condemned what it described as the transphobic atmosphere of the British press and widespread transphobic reporting on the killing of Gay. An article by NBC News on the killing commented that, quote, the climate in the UK has grown increasingly hostile for trans people over the last few years, end quote, adding that trans activists had also accused UK media of inflaming anti transgender sentiments in recent years. Southaran Raj, a professor of human rights law, said, quote, we all have a responsibility to challenge the insidious ways the media and politicians dehumanize trans people, end quote. Ash Sarkar, a journalist from Novara Media, said she could not understand the quote, editorial decision to violate her dignity in her death, end quote. Labor MP for Warrington North, Charlotte Nichols, said that she would be lodging a complaint with the Times and the Independent Press Standards Organization, and that, quote, there is absolutely no need whatsoever for anyone to publish her dead name when identifying her as trans in media
Absolutely.
coverage, end quote. And now I'm going to cover the Sunak and Starmer's PMQ exchange. So, at the Prime Minister's questions, which is the PMQ, on February 7th, 2024, answering an accusation of promise breaking from Labour Party leader Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister Rishi Sunak itemized U turns he said Starmer recently made, including on how to, quote, define a woman, end quote, Starmer reacted by deriding Sunak for including that in his answer while Gay's mother was, quote, in this chamber, end quote, in response to Gay's father's request for an apology. Sunak said it was Starmer's linking the comments to the murder that was, quote, the worst of politics, end quote.
Mm.
Esther Gay, who was not in the public gallery to hear Sunak's remark, later declined requests for commenting, adding that she was concentrating on creating a lasting legacy for her daughter. Both Sunak and Starmer were criticized. Sunak's response was called a joke by some media outlets and was criticized by some opposition MPs and conservatives. Starmer's response was criticized by Minister for Women and Equalities, Kemi Badenoch, who said it showed Labor were, quote, happy to weaponize Gay's murder.
Yeah.
And now we'll move on to the legacy.
Wow.
The murder was examined in the BBC television documentary Big Cases, Killed in the Park, and in the BBC radio documentary A Plan to Kill, The Murder of Brianna Ghey, both first broadcast on February 2nd, 2024. In September 2023, Esther Gay launched a local campaign in Warrington to deliver mindfulness training in schools in the area, raising £80,000 as part of a, quote, a lasting legacy, end quote, to her daughter. In 2024, she also backed a nationwide campaign alongside Warrington North MP Charlotte Nichols, calling on government to fund mindfulness programs in every school in England. On February 7th, Esther Gay was a guest at the House of Commons to observe the debate on, quote, mindfulness in schools, end quote. After the trial, she also called for smartphones to be banned for under 16-year-olds. By February 2024, a petition she launched had more than 90,000 signatures. On the 1 year anniversary of the murder, a vigil was held at the Golden Square Shopping Center in Warrington. The gathering of more than 1,000 was addressed by friends, family, local dignitaries who spoke in remembrance of Gay. An anniversary tribute concert named Live Your Truth was held at the Brewers in Manchester's Gay Village on February 18th, 2024. The event raised over £1,700 for the Peace in Mind UK campaign and the Mindfulness in Schools project, which aims to place a mental health coach in every school in Warrington and eventually in all schools across England. By February 18th, the Peace in Mind UK campaign had raised £80,000. Esther Gay met Jenkinson's mother in March of 2024. Gay commended the other woman's bravery and said, quote, both of us are mothers trying to navigate something that nobody should ever have gone through, end quote. In 2025, both a book and a television documentary were released about this topic. The memoir, Under a Pink Sky, by Brianna's mother, Esther Gay, was published by Michael Joseph, and the film, Brianna, Mother's Story, by Iwan Roberts, was broadcasted by ITV Television. The case was the subject of episode 6 of the documentary series TikTok Murder Gone Viral, released on October 21st, 2025. And now we go to the inquest. Do you know what the inquest is? You know what an inquest is in general?
Oh, I can't think.
I will define it.
Okay.
Not only for you, but for the people who never heard the word
Very
inquest.
much appreciated.
So, an inquest is practically a formal judicial or coroner led inquiry held to determine the cause, manner, and circumstances of a death. Particularly if it was sudden, suspicious, violent, or occurred in custody. It's a fact finding process, not a criminal trial, but its findings can lead to prosecutions. So, in October 2024, a 3-day inquest was held into the state of affairs leading up to the killing. Particular attention was paid to Brianna's mobile phone usage, in which the inquest heard that Brianna had not allowed her mother to access her phone, and social workers did not have the authority to remove it from her. Additional concern was paid to her school environment, in which Brianna had previously been disciplined for her mobile phone usage and for rolling up her skirt to make it appear shorter, rules which Brianna had characterized as ridiculous.
Hmm.
Go off. The inquest also looked at Jenkinson's transfer to Birchwood, concluding that it had been conducted appropriately and that the outcome would not have changed had the matter been approached differently. And that's practically all of that information. And now I'm going to go over the transgender hate crimes in the UK. So the transgender hate crimes in the UK have risen significantly, with over 3,000 trans related incidents reported between March 2024 and March 2025. Transphobia has escalated in the UK, marked by high levels of verbal abuse and physical violence. While police recording has improved, many incidents remain unreported, and conviction rates for transphobic crimes remain low. So there's rising incidents. Police recorded hate crimes against transgender people in England and Wales have hit record highs, with a 50% increase, and trans related crimes over the 5 years leading to 2025.
Wow.
And the types of abuse, the common incidents include verbal abuse, harassment, threats, and abuse from neighbors, coworkers, or strangers.
So fascinating because like people, this witch hunt has basically it's been going on, but it's really gotten stronger in the last few years. People act as if trans people are monsters or pedophiles out to get their children,
Yeah,
try to run in the bathrooms
it's the
and
white
sexually
men.
assault people. When the trans community, we are probably one of the smaller communities that's out there. Not that
Well,
people,
yeah.
not that
Not
many
that people
people
care
know
about us.
or even know a trans
Yeah.
person, but yet have all these opinions about trans people.
I'm gonna tell you probably if you're listening to this, you probably know someone who's trans, and if you don't know they're trans, they probably are not comfortable enough to tell
Absolutely, and that
you.
means that you probably need to do some work
Some
in,
soul
so
searching.
that they can feel comfortable enough to
Yeah.
show that to
You need to show them and let them know that you are a safe person to come out to if they so choose.
you.
If you suspect that someone is being trans, do not crack that egg for them.
Don't do that. That's
Let
not
them
your job.
discover that
That's not your
on their
job.
own. It's
Yeah.
not your job to be like, I think you're trans.
Hmm.
It's your job to be supportive as a family member, as a friend, as a coworker, whatever you are.
Yep.
And so the physical violence, a 2025 report indicates 65% of trans adults reported verbal abuse in public, and 24% reported experiencing physical violence. Public spaces and safety. Nearly 84% of trans people reported feeling that Britain is unsafe, with public spaces and toilet access being major areas of conflict. And then there's legal challenges. Despite legal protections, only a small fraction of reported hate crimes against trans people result in prosecutions, with roughly 126 out of 4,732 reported offenses moving to prosecution in 2023.
Wow. That's again one of those things where it's not surprising but still shocking.
Mm-hmm. And then causes of increased hostility is toxic discourse. Increased, often polarized discussions about transgender issues in the media and by politicians are linked to the rise in reports,
Hmm.
as well as online abuse. Trans individuals face significant abuse online alongside growing anti transgender movements influencing political policy. There's legal protections. Trans individuals are protected from discrimination and harassment under the Equality Act, as we all know. The CPS has updated its guidance to clarify that a trans or non binary person's failure to disclose their birth sex does not automatically constitute a criminal offense, addressing nuances in legal cases involving trans individuals.
At the very least, nuances.
Mm-hmm.
There shouldn't. Okay. I don't think there should be any issues with people not putting in their choosing not to put in their born sex, identity, or dead name. That shouldn't even be a discussion. That whatever the person decides to put in there, unless there's like, okay, maybe if you're going to a, a, a checkup, a general checkup or whatever, maybe your doctor needs to know that. Other than that, nobody needs to know what you were born as. That's none of their fucking business. And we
No.
shouldn't have laws telling you to do the opposite and criminalizing you for choosing to do the opposite.
Yeah. And CPS is the Crown Prosecution Services, by the way,
You
not
said
child.
what?
The Crown Prosecution Service.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
not Child Protective
I was
Service.
thinking that. Okay, that's
Yes.
new. Pop off, but Crown
But
Protection
if
Services.
you're listening in the UK, if you're anywhere near the UK, we're going to be in the UK, and you spot any and you need support or you're reporting something, there's a few resources to do. There's Stop Hate UK, which offers specialized support services, including helplines for reporting transgender hate crimes. There's the Crown Prosecution Service, which provides guidelines defining hate crimes, including those based on gender identity. And then there's the Good Law Project, which provides resources and reports on the lived experience of trans people in the UK.
So much. There's so much. I didn't even know who you're gonna talk about today. So it's I think that it is really really interesting that we both ended up picking um, both of our true crimes about essentially hate crimes. Mine's more so about someone being down low and too
Mm-hmm.
scared to come out, and yours being about a child and her life being taken by two fucking monstrous things
Yeah.
don't even deserve to be named. But like it's awful. It really is. It's terrible. That this is gonna be, and it's. I don't think it's gonna get any better. To be honest with you, like I think it is going to get worse from here.
Yeah.
With I mean, you telling me about the vote system,
Mm-hmm.
making it more difficult for us to do things. This is the current state of America. This is the current state of the world. We have people actively taking away our rights.
Yeah.
And it really does at times feel hopeless. A lot of
A lot
times.
of the times,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and I know a lot of people out there tend to think that they're safe. But after they come for us, the people of color, after they get that segregation, after they get segregation passed,
Hmm.
after they get um after they get interracial marriages and dating
Yeah.
illegal,
Hmm.
they're coming after everybody else.
Yeah, they're coming for the women. They're already doing that, or
Hmm.
people with vaginas.
Yeah,
Um,
they're
taking
coming.
away.
They're if you think you're safe because you're white, they're coming for your ass too.
Yep. Oh, for
If
sure.
you're white and you're gay,
You fucked already.
you fucked
They're
already.
just using you.
You
They're
have no
using you.
privilege
Thank you
anymore.
for you. Thank you for like they're thanking you for voting for them,
Yeah,
but they're still going to take away your rights.
absolutely.
So you guys
It's
think
gonna
you're
be gone,
champions. You think
motherfucker.
you are the golden children out here that they're gonna protect you. No, they're gonna use you
Yeah,
and they're gonna toss you off to the side like the rest of us,
yeah.
or kill you.
And I know you're
So
probably thinking,
thanks for fucking up the rest of our lives.
yeah, for real. And I know you're probably thinking, oh, I'm a white conservative person with a, I may be gay, but at least I have the perfect family, and we're not going to have anything happen to us. That perfect family you have is going to be taken from you, homie.
Absolutely.
Taken from you specifically.
Just pay attention to what's going on right now. What they're doing to people, to immigrants. I don't even like fucking calling them that. They're Americans. America is a melting pot. I'm not going to get to that, but
Homie, no
just see
one's
what they're
illegal on
doing.
stolen land.
Exactly. Exactly.
This is stolen
This
land.
is stolen land.
Crazy. Crazy work. Listen,
But I just wanted to
I'm not
say,
one to get political, and I know a lot of true crime podcasts don't like to get political because you know
but you can't help it.
separation of church and state, I suppose.
But you can't
But
help it.
when things start affecting me and the people around me, especially because I'm in an interracial relationship right now,
I am too.
and I'm a black lesbian transgender woman who is planning on marrying her white girlfriend. I'm trying to fight this shit so that I can marry her
Yeah.
and not have to do that shit in secret or have to marry someone else.
Yeah. What do they call that? Lavender marriages or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, you shouldn't have to do that. I mean, well, we were just talking about this too. It's the fact that even though it's legal for you to marry someone or get into an interracial relationship, they've been actively fighting against it since it became legal.
Mm-hmm.
And so um this is just what's happening right now. I mean, look who's in office. So they're that's what they said they're going to do, and they're chipping away at things, not even slowly,
No,
but it's
they're working
happening.
their way through the list.
And it's so funny because my dad is in a interracial relationship. My dad is also conservative, and so he voted for Donald Trump. But
Which is wild as a black man. That's
it is
crazy.
wild.
That's crazy.
It's so many demographics that are going to be impacted by the his decision to vote for Donald Trump. But this
That's
one
your
is
last
really
time
gonna fuck
voting,
him
homie.
over. Yeah, this one's really gonna fuck him
Yeah,
over. And like he thinks that like he really thought that they were out here to protect him. Just wait until they tell you, and until they
you must have
put you in
forgot you were
fucking jail for
melanated.
being married to a white woman.
Mm-hmm. You must have forgot you were melanated.
It's the anti-blackness for sure on that
Yeah,
side. It's very coon-like behavior over there. But I digress. What was I gonna say? I forget. Totally forget.
Hmm. Yeah. I have nothing else.
Okay. Well, I guess that's it. Thank you so much for like sitting down and listening to what we had to say. We really had a lot to say on our second episode, and I'm
Yeah,
just really happy that I have another outlet because I definitely need this. I definitely need a podcast to talk about the things that are important to me and the people in my life.
yeah, for sure. I also agree. Thank you guys for listening in. I love doing podcasts. I feel like this one will go further than the other three I've created in the past few years.
If anything, it'll be another creative way to let get that shit out
Yeah,
for us.
yeah.
So,
I mean, out of the three or four that I've created, this is the only true crime one,
okay.
and I love true crime more than, I mean, not more than SCPs, but it's kind of on the same level there.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys will stay tuned for the next one. I hope you guys take care of each other, have each other's backs. You know, it's a dangerous world out there, especially for people like us. Just love each other. Life's too short for hate, man. I don't get it. I never got it. Like,
No.
don't. Why are you hating each other when you could be loving each other?
Mhm.
Love is one of the most powerful things in this world.
It is.
It's way more powerful than hate.
It is.
Imagine what we could do if the entire world learned to tolerate and love each other. But
Yeah.
that's hippy dippy bullshit.
I see you
Apparently.
want to, end it on a good note.
Apparently, you know. But thank you guys. We love you all. Thank you for your support. Have a pleasant day, evening, or night whenever
Mhm.
you're listening to this. And remember, as always, here at the Dead Air Podcast, we'd love to hear from you, not about you. Bye bye.
Bye.